Welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast. I am Helen Verroux. This podcast is dedicated to help anyone connected to preteens and teens to give them tools, empower and inspire teachers, high school senior leaders, and parents to build the future leaders of tomorrow. We discuss about controversial and relevant topics related to the world of education, the main problems you are facing, and solutions to help you navigate your journey. We want to make a positive change in education by bringing on experts that will give you a different perspective on how you can solve the hardship you are facing today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast with me, Coach Helen. I'm so grateful that you're here with us again for another episode that will allow you to ignite 360 your school community, develop leaders around you, and also create meaningful connections. We're here to support you in your journey so you could actually shift your mindset and become the best version of yourself. So today we have an amazing speaker with us. Her name is Gretchen Bridgers. She is an author, a speaker, a teacher, coach, and a trainer. Over the last 2 decades, she has passionately taught elementary students. She has mentored and coached educators. She has also led professional development experiences for school building staff. And she's the author of 3 books that she has presented at district and also at national conferences. She's also the owner of Always a Lesson. And this lady, she loves to impact. She loves to amplify her service to educators worldwide through her blog called Empowering Educators. She has also a podcast called Empowering Educators Podcast. She helps with her classroom resources, professional development courses, and leadership coaching cohorts. So thank you so much, Gretchen, for being with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I love your heart to serve. This is so amazing. I know that
Yeah,
you're a mom as well, so it must be really hard to actually balance all of it, but I love how disciplined you can be. We just had a conversation behind the scene, and you were just sharing how you're just trying to actually set time aside to
yeah,
balance everything. So thank you so much for showing to people that it is possible not just to be an educator, but
yeah,
also to become a higher version of yourself.
yeah.
So today we're going to talk about really the importance of empowering educators. So
Okay,
let's talk about your journey.
sure.
Okay. So what led you to become really a coach and a mentor for teachers, really?
Well, it happened to me. I was teaching in my first 3 years. I was doing well, and my principal said, "We have someone coming to learn how to be a teacher. Can you help them?" And I thought, gosh, I am new. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I was doing better than the average new teacher. And she thought that would be more helpful because I am relatable to them. I just started as well. And so they might gravitate towards me instead of someone who's been teaching for 20 years. So very early in my career, I mentored. And then a role came for the New Teacher Project. And they asked me to be a coach only for new teachers. So they could teach kindergarten all the way up to seniors in high school. And I really loved supporting folks who are just learning to teach. But then it came time for me to start my own family, and I couldn't be all over the place. So I decided to go out on my own. And I had been blogging for a while, sharing what I was doing in my classroom. And I thought, well, why don't I make that an actual website? And folks could find me and they could work with me. And doing that virtual coaching is how it all began. And then it's grown from there. So I think my journey unfolds one step at a time. And I just follow the breadcrumbs to do whatever's in front of me. And I do it well. And then the next step shows itself. And then I follow that a little further. And that has just been how I've grown and grown into the type of leader that I am today.
I love it. I love it. And you have a website called Always a Lesson, and I feel that you're always a learner. Like you
Yes.
start something, you work through it, even if
Uh-huh.
it's hard sometimes. And
Hmm.
then once of the lessons that you've learned, now you actually grow with it and you actually open a new door for you, because
Right.
sometimes you have to create these opportunities. If you
Mm-hmm.
didn't really step out of inside the classroom, and you haven't decided to really step out outside, we wouldn't be here today. You
Yeah,
won't be in my podcast. And
that's
I love
right.
how you have that desire to step out and become the best version of yourself. So talk
Thank
about
you.
what you do, your website, always a lesson. It's already speaks for itself. So
Yeah.
just talk up to the audience about it.
One thing that makes me unique is I'm always watching the world around me and I'm pulling lessons to change my perspective or to get answers. And so life is happening around us and it's always a lesson if you're willing to just look and apply it to your life. And because of that, I think when I share that with others, they think I need to start doing more of that. And how do I do it better? And through reading the blog or listening to the podcast, they start to hear the habit of my mind of just looking at ordinary things and pulling from it what I can. And they are starting to do it the same way. And even though their path takes them in different avenues in education, the theme of still teaching yourself and always being open to learning and doing something better is there. And it's been an honor to have the website and provide what the customer wants, whether they want to read a book or a blog, or they want to listen to the podcast, or they want to download materials for the classroom, whether they want to work one-on-one coaching with me, whether they want to do a cohort with other teacher leaders so they can communicate and collaborate and celebrate together. It just depends what that educator needs and what resources that I have. And I thought I want to make sure there's something for everyone. So I try and think of what doesn't exist yet on alwaysalesson.com and fill that need for people. And so thankful that those who are on the website ask, hey, would you be open to doing a book study? Sure, let's do it. Would you be open to coming to my school? Sure, let's do it. So, those listening, if there's someone that you want to work with or you wish that they provided a support that you need, ask because they might be able to do that.
Yes, this is so profound in terms of you listening to what the world offers.
Yeah,
And I feel like, as you said, there is always a lesson we need to learn from the
yeah,
things around us. It can be verbal, non-verbal, it can be through people, it can be through nature. Like
yeah.
when we are really in tune with ourselves and with the
Mm-hmm.
world around us, there is so much that we can learn and grow from. And I love the title of your website, Always a Lesson, and
Yeah.
the what you offer to all the educators who come to you. They really see that there is a different level in their life that they need to actually unlock. I'm really a supporter of multidimensional leadership, and that's what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
a multidimensional leader. You're not just an educator. You have so many facets. You're a podcaster, an author, a speaker.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
learned to really tap deep inside of you. You're a mom, you're a wife. And
Yeah.
this is what I want everybody to see, that it is possible. And I feel there is so much fulfillment in that.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just being, I know it's hard work. I won't lie. It's a lot of work. But at
Yes.
the same time, because you love learning, you cannot stop. You don't feel like you're
Right.
an average person. You just say, you know what? There is more. There is more. And I feel because of your positivity, your mindset, it
Mm-hmm.
always brings more to you because of your desire to become bigger and expand. So this is
Yeah.
amazing. Anyone listening to us right now, I really encourage you to really expand your mind, to see that there is not just one side of you as a teacher. You can, yes, impact inside, but you can also impact outside, like Gretchen is doing.
Yeah.
So, Gretchen, what is a pathway you suggest to teachers to follow you, follows you, sorry, to improve their practice?
Oh, many things. I think the one thing you can do that makes the biggest difference is get real with yourself. What is not working for you as an educator? And let's start there. That's usually the root of the issue. And when you can prioritize what you work on, then you can start seeing progress. A lot of frustration comes when you're trying to fix too many things, and maybe the things you're fixing are small things and not the root of all these problems. And so when you can list out on a sheet of paper everything that's frustrating you, stressing you out, making you depressed, want to give up on teaching, list them out and then put them in order. If you were to pick one that would have the biggest impact, make the biggest change, which would it be? And then you just start saying to yourself, if I did one thing today that would fix that problem, what would it look like? And then you wake up the next day and you say, if I do just one thing today that would fix that one thing, and throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, you will start to see those small actions change. And all of a sudden, you're starting to improve. So even if you listen to the podcast or you read a book or read my blog or you're listening to me coach, there are other things and facets around you can change, but you have to know what the one thing inside yourself that's just driving you crazy, and you go passionately at that. And I think when you are real with yourself that we're not perfect and that sometimes we do it better than other days, and that you are able to prioritize what you're actually going to attack, you will start to feel happy and empowered and inspired and excited. And then you find your joy and you're willing to add more to your plate to fix the problem because you're not emotionally exhausted from the problem itself. I think a lot of times when I'm proactive and I can control some part of the puzzle, I just mentally feel better because I know there's something I can do about it. And then when you take action, it makes you feel like I'm doing something and you're able to not be upset. So no matter what everyone is working on, just prioritize and get real about it.
Yes, I feel it's the doing. Many people are not really in the doing, and this
Yep.
is where you have people who procrastinate a lot.
Yeah.
Who don't. This is a hard thing. I feel sometimes you want to change certain things in your life, but it's hard because you're so used to the bad habits that you've built for yourself,
Yeah.
and this can be very detrimental for people. And how do you actually bridge that gap? If you're a procrastinator and you know that you're a procrastinator, you want to change, but there is no, you can't change. What are the things that you could say? What is the one thing you could tell them to do, if apart from doing it?
Okay. So when I felt burnout in third grade, I was asked to go help. In fifth grade, they had a lot of behavior problems. I said, sure. I was in over my head. The content was really difficult. The students were way below grade level, and the team itself was not working well together. And it was just everything about the situation was wrong. And I was like, I want out. So I did what I was supposed to do. I knew I could do it for a year. I controlled what I could control. I chose my attitude. I couldn't help my colleagues much at all because I was barely surviving myself, but I was honest with them. I wish I could help you more. I don't have capacity right now. And through that, that made them step up. And because it was so difficult, we started leaning on each other, which meant we started working well together. And then we were able to start seeing the students perform. And we made it out alive. Students were great. And they moved on to middle school. And my principal said, that was a rough year for you. What do you need from me? And I said, take me somewhere else. And she let me go teach second grade, which is a non-testing grade. And that took all the stress away. And I could just enjoy teaching. So if you are feeling like there is something out of your control, think about where is the end line. For me, it was the end of that school year that you just have to make it through. And then if the change can come, are you advocating for it? Are you letting someone know the desires of your heart? I want to teach a different grade. I want to teach at a different school. I'm deciding I'm going to use my teaching abilities and do something else. But get clear on what it is that would make you feel in control and happy. Tell someone else about it and then finish what you've started. I don't want to see you quit. I don't want to see you leave the situation when it's a mess because it will get better if you kind of learn how to navigate it. And because I stayed with it, I was rewarded with the most wonderful year of my teaching career with those little second graders. And the curriculum was so fun and there was no stress. And I'm like, imagine if I had left and never got to experience that. I would have left education altogether, maybe, and we wouldn't be
Wow.
sitting here. So
Yeah.
I want you to not lose perspective when you're in the mud and the muck of a situation and just feeling like I can't control a single thing here. Everything's happening to me. There are tiny things you can do every day that is in your control, and just look at the end goal and you will make it there.
Sweet. Two things that comes to mind when you talk about that. It's first of all, as a team leader, transparency and honesty. If you're not honest with your team and saying, you know what, guys, I really can't do it. This
Yeah.
is out of my capacity. I don't
Yeah.
feel that they would have stepped up, and I love how you were honest and you were like, and this is what is true leadership, I feel, in a way, is being real with yourself, being real with others,
Yeah.
and so they can see your flaws, they can
Right.
see your weakness, because at the end of the day, you're a team. And that's when they started to realize, okay, if she can't do it, then we can actually work with her. And that's when they stepped into their higher leadership as well. And the
Yes.
second, I love that. And the second thing is really about realizing that they have to focus on themselves, and that's what is important. When you focus on yourself and you realize that there is something better for you, that you go through the crisis allows you to grow. Don't give up in the crisis, because there is beauty outside the crisis. So I love
Yes.
that. I love that. People just tend to, when there is a crisis, they just run away from it. When crisis really builds you up and give you stamina and resilience, and
Yep.
that's when you become a different level of yourself. So I love that. So
Yeah.
how do you really ensure that every student receive a quality instruction from their teachers?
Well, as a mother, can I answer that first? It's very
Yes,
frustrating because
yes.
there's a variety of levels of teachers, and I know immediately when I walk in a room what I'm dealing with. You
Oh,
can feel
wow.
it in the vibe of the classroom. Is this person welcoming? Are they interested in like children? Is it colorful on
Wow.
the wall? Is it lit up with lamps and just this atmosphere of I want to be here? And then you
Wow.
shake their hand and you look in their eyes and do they lean into you? Do they share excitement meeting you? Or are they like, hey, come walk in or whatever, just passive and you're thinking, this is not going to work for me. And then they
Mm,
start teaching and real quickly, like, do they know their content? Are they making sure every kid gets what they need to be successful? And as hard as a mom, when you know what it takes to be a great teacher and you are one, and you see someone who's less than what you would desire for your own child, you have to find a way to support your child. So I end up teaching them at home, which is not what I want to do because I want to just be mom. But I support and fill in the gap. But I also offer suggestions in a ways that would be appropriate. So can I come do that bulletin board for you? Can I come read to the class? What supplies do you need to help learners who need to manipulate things with their hands? I see the deficit, and instead of telling you to fix something, I offer a solution. And through that, that person grows. And then I can feel like, you know what, this isn't the best situation this year, but we're going to do our best to push through it. You're not always going to have a great teacher. And I can do what I can do to support that. And so that's been a real big challenge for me. But in terms of supporting teachers, a lot of them do have a desire and they're not sure how to improve. Some even think they are doing and implementing feedback, but it's not how the person giving the feedback intended. And so to get even more clear on what does this look like and how am I missing the mark and what do I need to do differently? And all sorts of modeling and going around to other rooms and seeing multiple teachers use the same skill, like asking high level questions, for example. They can watch different people do the same thing and say, oh, I see how they all did it, but in a different way. That was their own. And I can figure out what that looks like for me. And so I think supporting teachers is meeting them wherever they are and filling out how does this meet your personality and your teaching style and meet the needs of students. And there's so many resources out there, but teachers have to be willing to have someone come in and partner together. I'm not there to tell you what to do. I am there to make you think. But you have to take the action. You have to have the initiative to want to, like we talked about before, do the work, take the action, or nothing's going to change. I can't come teach your class for you. I want you to do it the best way possible.
I love it. This is very interesting, because I feel that sometimes you have teachers who don't want to be teachers anymore. They're very
Yeah,
exhausted by so many things in the system, and it's
right.
really tiring for them.
Yeah,
And I really see, and you were talking about that, the way they actually respond to people when they come in their classroom, the way they respond to their students. You can see straight away if they're unmotivated, if they don't have the passion anymore. And I feel this is what we need to bring more into school coaching, not just
yeah,
coaching teachers for in their classroom, but coaching them for their life.
yeah.
And if they don't want to be in that position, in that job anymore, really
Hmm.
helping them to see another alternative on how they can leave the classroom. Because I feel like there are transferable skills that they've learned inside
Yes.
that they can bring outside the classroom as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like coaching is such a big thing in my heart that we need to bring into schools where we
Hmm.
can help teachers to be more engaged, more inspired, more empowered in their personal journey as well as in the classroom.
Yeah.
So it really resonates with me. And
I'm so
so
glad.
you wrote 3 books. So share those
Yeah.
3 books. That's a lot of books. I wrote only one
Oh,
book, but three, that's a lot. So
yeah.
share the title of your 3 books and what are 2 advice that you could give to any educators watching us today so they can navigate burnout in education.
Okay, so the journey of book writing again fell in my lap as I was taking the steps and everything was unfolding. And remember, I had the blog and I was talking all about what was happening. Well, before the blog, I had index cards that I would write different ideas on that I was reading in magazines for teachers. So that when I had a classroom, I could have all these ideas to try. And then every year I would add to it. And I put it in a recipe box. And every time I'd get a student teacher or a mentee, I would say, take this box, take it home, spend all weekend looking through all the different ideas, and take as many as you want to try and start your own list of things that you want to try in your classroom because it's wisdom from other people. I'm just passing it along. And someone said to me, you should probably write this down like on a Word document so you can easily share it with people instead of passing the box. And I thought, huh, okay, that's a good idea. So I made a Word document. And then, every mentor, student, teacher that came after that, I said, okay, here's this document, read it. And they'd share it with their friends. And someone said, this could probably make a good book. And I thought, huh, never thought about being a book. I'm busy trying to teach kids. But I thought, well, it's already written. All I have to do is kind of rearrange it and maybe add a beginning and an end.
Mm,
And so that was my first book, Elementary Education 101, What They Didn't Teach You in College. And it's all the nitty gritty of what is it really like? I mean, I get the whole ideas, but like every day, what is it like? And I spill all the secrets because I don't want it to be a secret. And the reality, so when you step into that role, it's not surprising. And I talk about, the copy machine or getting along with your colleagues. I talk about the lesson planning process. I mean, just stuff that you think you know until you get in there and you're like, wait a minute, how do I run a conference with parents? And what should I say and not say? And how do I prepare for that? So I wrote that book and I was minding my business, teaching and coaching. And someone said, gosh, you're so great at speaking. I bet you'd be a good writer. And I said, well, I've written one, it was self published, not many people know about it. And she said, well, come do a book with me. And I thought, oh, wow, okay. This is a step above what I've done before. And it was self published under her, but she grabbed a bunch of educators who were an expert in their field. And my expertise at the time was mentorship and coaching. So I wrote a chapter on that. And so that book is called Experts in Education. And that was a really fun project to learn about what everyone is doing in their schools to make an impact because you could take that to your school and say, which one of these things do we want to try?
mm,
Well, then again, minding my business, a few years go by, and now I'm fully at home consulting on my own. And someone said, well, what have you learned, since you've not had your own classroom? You've been in everyone else's. And I said, oh, I have learned so much. I'm a better teacher now because I've seen education in different states and cities and private school and public school. And they said, well, you should write about it. And I thought, huh. Okay, I'll write my third book. And so I wrote about the teacher essentials for classroom and career success. And I talk about the 4 bricks, which is lesson design, classroom management, student engagement, student choice, and ownership. And what I learned is if you don't attack it in that sequence, that's when you don't see the results. So teachers are like, I'm doing everything you're asking of me. I'm implementing your feedback and I'm not seeing a change. And I'm tired. And I'm like, oh, I bet. Trickle it down. I bet it comes in the lesson design section. You're not planning for it. You're not thoroughly thinking through it. And then you can't manage your classroom well. And then you can't engage students well. And guess what? Now they don't have choice and ownership. So it's all this big domino effect. And when I figured out the sequence mattered and that those were the 4 essentials, now schools are seeing so much more success and teachers are like, finally, I can figure out what I wasn't doing. And now they start to see that success and the ripple effect.
I love it. I love it. This is amazing. I feel like we talked about really how to empower educators
Yeah.
in this podcast, because you actually spoke from your own story, from your
Yeah.
own experience, and now people,
Yeah.
when they listen to you, they really hear your heart, and
Yeah.
they know that you don't just fake it, you really
Oh,
live
yeah.
it day to
Yeah, I
day,
do.
and you have
Yeah.
learned to balance. So thank you so much, Gretchen, for sharing your experience with us today in this podcast. So anyone who wants to listen to Gretchen and to want to reach Gretchen, make sure that you actually check her socials. I put it on the link in the podcast, so you could reach out on her Instagram and her website. And anyone who wants to, any educators who wants to really develop a CEO mindset, just like me and Gretchen, I encourage you to get a clarity call with me, because we want to actually help you grow into your higher level. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. And thank you, Gretchen, for being in the podcast today.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure you connect with us on Instagram at The Case for Success. Check also my link tree and become an affiliate of the Success Guide for Teens Academy, a program that will empower your school community as a parent, teacher, and high school senior leader. Do not hesitate to reach out, comment, and share. Until then, see you in the next episodes.